Have you ever looked at another artist's sketchbook and think to yourself, wow, I really want to do that? I've been following this artist on Instagram for some time now. I think you guys might be aware of who they are. Her handle is Loputin. I love her art so much. And recently, I saw some of her gel pen sketches and it looked so cute. And I felt really inspired to do the same and to try to emulate that style because I really feel like her style resonates with mine. So I started sketching in pen, expecting to make like a masterpiece, only to promptly just throw my sketchbook out the window because my skills just didn't add up to my tastes, meaning it didn't really look the way that I wanted to. I have spent a few years trying to sketch in pen, and I always came with the same frustrating result. It turned into this on again, off again relationship. After a while, I just thought maybe the pen and I are not meant to be. However, one day I came across Peter Han's sketchbook tour and it ignited my passion to start sketching in pen again. But only this time I felt really, really determined. I also got a new sketchbook and I was really determined to designate this book as my pen sketchbook, meaning I'm only going to be drawing in pen in here and that I will not back down no matter how messy or how scribbly it's gonna get, because that really was the deterring factor for not sketching in pen for a while. So I've been sketching in pen for about a month now and incorporating some self-studies from the University of YouTube, and I think something stuck this time. So today I wanted to share some tips and resources for what's been working for me lately, at least as a self-taught artist, in the form of a sketchbook flip through. I'll be going through my current pen sketch process and hopefully help other budding artists improve on their art or learn to sketch in pen if you have been curious to try it. Hello, my name is Christine, or Loveaholic, and I am a budding artist aspiring to be a full-time artist. Here I like to share my love of art, the creative process, and the joys of my daily life. And lately I have been really enjoying morning sketch sessions as I curl up in the living room with a warm cup of coffee. Although lately I've been switching it up and having a nice chilled iced London fog, especially for the hot summer days. It's so refreshing. So grab yourself a drink or a snack as well as your supplies and let's hang out together. Now, in terms of supplies, you can definitely use whatever sketchbook that gives you joy. Just don't overcomplicate it or get bogged down in the details, such as like the type of paper or fancy sketchbooks, unless that's what motivates you to sketch. But for me, I like to have a bit of a balance of both, something nice, but also not afraid to mess anything up. If you're a beginner, I recommend using a ballpoint pen as a challenge. But if you really want to push yourself further, I also challenge you to use a felt tip pen, like a Sakura micron pen in like 0.5 or 0.3 nib, or a Stadler pen, so that when you make a mistake, you can really see it. I primarily use felt pen when I'm learning and practicing my fundamentals, which I will talk more about later in this video when I share my art tips and resources. So the first pages of my sketchbook start with a bit of boxing exercises. I'll probably go more into that later once I share my resources with you. My first attempt at this pen sketch drawing was a bit of a messy one. I was kind of rusty with the construction lines, but the next day when I redrew it, it was a lot better. I was still getting the hang of the ballpoint pen here, so I was pretty pleased with the progress so far. For like the first few drawings, I used the green pen for construction lines basically. I used red as like the accent color for like the cheeks and the lips. I used blue as like a outline slash darkening effect, and that has been kind of working for me, at least at this point when I'm still kind of getting used to how the pen is working for me. So I actually drew the face and I was actually pretty pleased with how I was going, and then I decided to add the body, and then I realized the perspective is a little hard for me. So I picked like a really not overcomplicated, but it's like an overhead perspective, which is kind of hard for me. So I just did the best that I could without the knowledge of perspective that I had. So there's that. As you can see, I kind of had trouble with the hands too. So the next page you can see I'm doing hand studies. Again, frustrating to say the least, but looking back it's not as bad as I thought it was. But at the time it was really bad, but it was pretty good. Kind of like this one in terms of like doing things out of imagination. I wanted to make like a mushroom lady. This is the first time I kind of done like a more surreal, like magical piece where I kind of just morph humans and I guess nature together. I don't think it really suits my style the more that I think about it, but I'm kind of glad I got to do it just to see how it looks. Oh, and this was the previous page. I actually skipped this page, and before working on the mushroom details for this lady, I did like a little mini mushroom study. I think one of the main problems that I was coming and facing with is that things looked kind of muddy, even though I was trying to layer, quote unquote, with pens from like light color to dark color, but it looked a little muddy, so I'm still working out the kinks for that. So this is another mushroom study, trying to figure out how to incorporate the really complicated and really beautiful layers. And then again, I'm trying to use references, but to also incorporate my imagination to this. It's also very messy. I'm not really proud of this one, but I love how it kind of invokes the feeling of the autumn time and like the harvest moon. And now I'm kind of excited for autumn, even though it's July. I guess it's submarine. And then I came across this, I don't play video games, but I came across a playthrough online of Grease. I don't know if anybody has heard of Grease, but it's basically... yeah, I don't know anything about video games. But basically, it's more of a story-based playthrough, I would say, where the character is going through grief and how the game kind of personifies her stages. And oh my god, the art is so beautiful. It hits something in me. I feel like every artist has like inspirations where it really hits you like a rock, where it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. This is what resonates with me and what I want to do with my work. And Grease was that for me, especially with the watercolor painting and the way the humans are drawn. The artists, oh my goodness, they are so talented. I admire them so much. I went down a rabbit hole, and they have a quote unquote new game, another game called Neva, in a different art style, but it's also equally as beautiful. I'm kind of going off tangent here, but I wanted to do a study of the art. It's not perfect at all. Some of the things that I shaded will look better in watercolor, but I'm just trying to focus on the pen. And I feel like once I get the hang of shading in pen, I think transitioning to paint would be a lot easier. So that was my thought process. And I love drawing girls. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just so pleasing for me to draw, you know, experimenting with things. This one I put a little bit too much blush on, but I still like it. This is one of my favorites because it's like, I love the rainbow color in it, and it's not quite clean, but it's not as muddy, but I'm pretty proud with how I did this one right here. It's super cute. And then I decided to do more hand studies, but I'm still trying to figure out how to do that in pen. And I use a different pen here, which is like another different ballpoint pen, but I really like the thin ballpoint pens a lot, so I switched immediately after that. More hand studies with a lollipop. I was so determined to get these hand poses down. It was so hard. Some more studies. This one, I make little notes every time I draw something just to see what I can improve on and what my thought process is, so I can just kind of vent out my frustrations. This one, I was kind of sad. I made the face a little muddy. I like the way I shaded the hair. It wasn't like super overcomplicated, because I tend to just shade every part of the hair when you can just shade like a portion of it that, you know, you get attention to. I really tried to do a design on the skirt, but again, it looked really muddy. That's one of my main problems that I wanted to fix, was the muddiness of my drawings. And then this one, I really like the face, but drawing clothes, a bit of a struggle. The proportions are all off. I don't hate it though. I think I was kind of struggling through this one artistically, because I was just like, why isn't anything looking right? Everything looks all wonky. I'm doing layerings. Why isn't anything working out? So sometimes it's just like that, you know, you just gotta push through. And I actually really like this drawing. I could do better with the shading. It's much better than before, I have to say. I think I improved a lot, but the shading's still a little scratchy. But I really love the feeling of kind of like a mother-daughter bond here. And I'm starting to see that I really like drawing relationships. I don't know, there's like a little warm feeling when I'm drawing people interacting with each other. And then I went to a cafe and I was trying to draw the lantern. It didn't really work out very well. Oh, and then this was when I decided I need to kind of put my foot down and get some more art lessons. So I got some free resources to practice with. So I'm practicing with felt pen here. So I'm practicing line confidence. So instead of being scratchy all the time, it's more solid and more confident and like less strokes. Not very pleased with this, but I'm accepting that as part of the process. And then I redid it in my ballpoint pen, and I thought, man, I really love my ballpoint pen. But I think it's just the comfort zone that I'm in. I used to hate ballpoint pen, and now I like it a lot better. So progress is progress. You know, again, I'm still figuring out how to make it less muddy. And then I thought I would do more sketch warm-ups over here. So this is just me sketching references. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out for 30 minutes. and in pen. I feel like I would have done way worse before. More warm-ups and references that I'm doing. Oh, more hand studies. I was so determined. I was like, I want to find style in pen. My best friend basically like sent me pictures of his hand because he knew that I was like trying to study them. And he just sent me a whole bunch of hands for me to look at and for me to reference off of. So that was fun. And then I had a really rough time creatively because I think I skipped like 4 days of drawing, and it's crazy how rusty you get when you don't draw for more than a day. I don't really like this drawing very much. I wanted to incorporate more of the relationship, people interacting with each other through hugs or bondings, and it didn't really translate very well. I had a really hard time. But then the next page, I tried again. It's not perfect, but I really liked it. I feel like I finally found something I liked about the style that I wanted for pen sketches. I really like the hand that I drew here. I think this is my favorite hand that I drew with the flower. I really love it. I was like, okay, this is what I'm emanating for my hands. And this whole picture collage that I made, it kind of reminded me of Francesca from Hosier. I don't know, I love that song. I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but please hear the song. It is so beautiful. And then, I don't know, there's a whole breakthrough that happened, but I really like these sketches over here. I feel like this is kind of what I want my style to look. It's like semi-muted, but it's like detailed, but it's like wispy. I don't know, it feels a lot more intentional and not too as muddy as I usually do. So I'm trying to keep this page in mind whenever I'm sketching now. And then of course, not every drawing is gonna be perfect every day, unfortunately. So the next day I was having like a bit of a crisis. I couldn't really emanate the previous drawing that I did that I really liked. So that was really frustrating for me. Like my hands got all messed up again. So I'm still figuring out hands. Once again, it's part of the process. It's a little better. Not too bad. Don't hate it. And then I kept going again the next page, but it was still really frustrating. So I think at that point I just stopped working and I just let it go. The next day I thought, you know, I want to figure out my hands again. I'm chasing the high of the previous hand that I drew, which I really liked. So I went to go do hand studies. And I actually kind of like it. It's not perfect, but there's an essence there that I really, really like when I'm drawing my hands, and I kind of want to keep it that way. And this is the drawing that I made this morning. Again, it's not too perfect. I kind of messed up on her chest area. I kind of messed up. Usually I don't have trouble with like the neck and like the collarbone shading, but this time I had a really hard time for some reason. Hair on the bottom could use some work, but there are a lot of aspects that I do like about this drawing. So I'm actually very pleased with the progress that I made in just 1 month. And so I wanted to share with you the pen sketching and art education resources with you guys, so you can also maybe see some improvement in your art as well. I will be leaving all these links down in the description below. I'm not sponsored by any of them. Most, if not all of them, are literally free YouTube videos for you to check out, and it's been helping me so much. And of course, there's an option to purchase and level up more if you so wish or have the means to do so. So the first one I want to mention is by the creator Nemo, called The Only Box Rotation Exercise That's Actually Useful. And I say it's pretty accurate. I'd say it's not the only video you should watch, but it has been a helpful video in the beginning. These are all the boxes that I've been drawing and the boxes that you saw in the flip through that I had on the left side of the page, just to start warming up, getting an idea of perspective before sketching. And if they wanted more clarification, I had another video I looked at called Pick Cat. It's called Draw Boxes Correctly to Improve Your Art. I was using it more as a clarifier for perspective, but to be honest with you, I think it's worth brushing up on just 1 point or 2 point perspective, and it's a lot easier than you think it is. It's not boring, I swear, because I put it off for years because I didn't want to look at perspective. But you can definitely find any free resource from any amazing artists on the platform, so you could just type those up on YouTube and go from there. The next resource I wanted to talk about was from the CG Master Academy. They have a YouTube channel for demos of their art classes that they provide. And of course, the one that I was gravitated to was the person who sparked my interest back into pen sketching, which is Peter Han. So I was looking at Peter Han's dynamic sketching. They have a class demo of, I think, part 1 or week 1. It has been very, very helpful. I highly recommend doing that. And then I did the second part of that video as well. Both of these videos are free, but you're able to purchase like the official classes on that website, or even at Peter Han's specific website, or like actual like one-on-one mentorship or a more engaging learning experience, I'm actually willing to consider purchasing his classes in the future, considering how much the free demo has been so helpful for me in improving my art so much already. So the next videos are by one of the artists that I kind of just discovered, and now I think she's one of my favorites. And her name is Eliza Ivanova. And so I've kind of been down a rabbit hole of her videos, of her process and her interviews, and I just love the way she draws. It really speaks to me. It's the same feeling that I felt with Loputin's drawings. Like when you find an artist that really speaks to you and that really there's almost like this connection that like it just resonates with you so much with your own art style. I highly recommend looking into her techniques. I've been using her techniques of silhouetting first before adding the details, which has been pretty helpful in achieving the style that I want. And then the next resource is going to be Proco on YouTube. I think if you've been studying art on YouTube for a while, it's a pretty well-known platform or well-known channel. I highly recommend it. I love all of their artist sketchbook tours for inspiration, as well as the free tutorials that they provide. And also they also provide paid classes that you can check out on their website as well if you want to take your level up and invest in yourself more, which I think I'll also consider doing. So the next resource is for sketch references. If you would like, you can check out my previous video where I share all of my Pinterest alternatives for references that doesn't have AI or ads. And I mentioned Unsplash as one of the resources, but apparently they use AI now. At least that's what I was informed of, but I'm not quite sure. Might need to do some research on that. But a lovely commenter called The Fairy Catcher, love the name, it's so whimsical. They recommended Sketch Daily for sketching references, and I absolutely love it so much. You can customize the type of reference from full body to specific body parts or animals, structure, even vegetation. I'm going to assume that's landscape, but in my brain, it literally went to an image of an eggplant asking me to paint like one of their French girls. You can also choose the sex of the subject, whether you want them clothed or nude, and the kind of poses and viewpoints you want to reference them from. It also comes with a customized timer if you really needed one. I personally like to do 10 to 30 minutes, or ideally no timer. I've been trying to decrease my length time as I get some more practice in. It's been such a huge time saver because I can just refer to the references that they just roll out for me, as opposed to me actively searching for a bunch of reference pictures myself. So I've been enjoying this site as an amazing resource, and I really recommend using it for warm-ups and your pen sketches. I hope you enjoyed this flip through, as well as the art resources and tips to improve your art. Comment below if you have any art resources that you would like to share. I absolutely loved reading all your comments on my previous Pinterest alternative video, and I appreciate so much how supportive you guys are of not just me but to each other. We also just reached 500 subscribers and creative souls. It may not look a lot compared to the average influencer or celebrity, but to be in the same room as 500 people to walk with on this creative journey is such a blessing. So if you haven't already and feel called to, feel free to join us and be a part of this lovely creative community. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. And with that, I hope you take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy creating! Oh! I'm gonna leave it out there. Oh! Page fell out.